This man sets a trap for justice, deceives bad people, and punishes them, and successfully brings back justice for innocent people. To help the driver, Wu, who was deceived, Du Ji pretends to be a foolish, wealthy second-generation heir, buys a car from a brokerage company, and on his way back to the city, the car loses control. Fortunately, Du Ji avoids the crowd in time and hits a pile of sand, and no one is seriously injured. After examining the car Du Ji bought, Curly Hair and Mushroom Head analyze that it is a third-level submerged car whose engine was also drowned. As the name suggests, this type of car was soaked in rain. If someone takes it out on the road, it's like carrying a time bomb with them. But for this unprincipled brokerage company, they collect these kinds of cars at a very low price. Selling just one car can bring them huge profits. To get the inside scoop, Du Ji starts following the people of the brokerage company. He overhears a few employees talking about buying driver Wu's license. They learn that the company's president bought a taxi license for 1 million yuan, but sold it to driver Wu for 100 million yuan. In other words, it's a business that makes 100-fold profit. The president was then watching a piece of news showing that an area was affected by heavy rain, and many cars were submerged. The president immediately plans to go to that area and instructs the employees to bring a tow truck. Du Ji follows them and sees that the group has arrived at a scrapyard. He overhears that the president and the scrapyard owner are connected. The latter deliberately selects uninsured, scrapped submerged cars. Since there was no insurance, there's no need to report the submergence record, and thus no one actually knows they are submerged cars. That night, the scrapyard owner hands over 2 submerged cars to the president. The president gives him some money, and the deal between them is completed. That night, the scrapyard owner was peacefully watching a video when he suddenly heard a noise outside. The owner goes to check, but Du Ji was already there long ago. Before the wicked owner could ask anything, Du Ji quickly throws the man out the window. After buying the submerged cars, the president instructs the employees to clean the cars and resew and stuff the exploded airbags back inside. At this time, the employees bring bad news. The submerged cars bought last night were all scrapped. The president tries to contact the scrapyard owner, but the phone is no longer connecting. Even at this point, the president doesn't understand the internal inconsistencies. Besides selling submerged cars, the president also provided legal advice to customers who rented imported cars. That night, the president meets with the clients and, as a lawyer, solves this group's problems, such as how the perpetrator can avoid punishment after an accident. Being a former lawyer, the president could always find legal loopholes and give professional advice. Du Ji and his team were following from the outside. Curly Hair and Mushroom Head fake a fight and mistakenly enter inside, and Lion secretly places a surveillance camera on the floor of the room. Through surveillance, Du Ji and his team realize that this notorious president actually sold all the submerged cars from last night to his clients under the guise of registering the car under a pseudonym. Realizing that this man, the president, has no regard for human life, Du Ji begins his justice mission. Du Ji comes to the brokerage company, pretending to be the simple-minded, overly ostentatious son of a rich dad. He says he needs a car for his new girlfriend and asks the employees to choose a good car. At the employee's recommendation, Du Ji buys a red second-hand car without hesitation. Back at their base, he examines it and finds that it is also a third-level submerged car. At this time, the people at the brokerage company consider Du Ji to be a fool with a lot of money. To tempt the president and others even more, Du Ji starts buying cars from other car dealerships. Very quickly, the brokerage company employees spot Du Ji buying cars and immediately report the news to the president. They think that this fool buying cars so frequently is somewhat unusual. However, the president doesn't find it strange until he uses a tow truck to shop everywhere. Hearing the words, Du Ji quickly brings a tow truck and places the second-hand cars bought from various dealerships onto the tow truck. He deliberately lets the brokerage company see this. This time, the president also thinks there is something fishy in this incident. When the time is almost right, Doo-ji comes to the brokerage company to buy a car again. This time, he pretends that he broke up with his girlfriend and needs to buy a car to heal his emotional wounds. As planned, Doo-ji quickly buys the suggested car. This time, the president arrives with the paperwork and uses the old trick, asking Doo-ji to pay an outstanding amount of 7 million yuan. The president and others are surprised to see that Doo-ji writes the check immediately without question. This makes the president even more suspicious. So, at night, the president and his team follow Doo-ji in their cars. They see Doo-ji driving a tow truck and taking the dozen or so cars he bought to an abandoned amusement park. After parking the cars, Doo-ji comes to a machine, enters the password, and takes out a large amount of cash from it. After Doo-ji leaves, the president and his team go to see. They realize that the dozen or so cars Doo-ji bought from various dealerships are parked here. The employees are stunned and don't understand why Doo-ji is doing this. The president is also curious, so he tries to enter the password on the machine Doo-ji was in front of before leaving. Unfortunately, after several guesses, no password is correct. The enraged president tries to break the machine with an iron rod but fails. The president instructs the employees that the next time Doo-ji comes to buy a car, they should talk to him nicely. Very soon, Doo-ji comes to the brokerage company again. Just as he predicted, this time the employees greet him as a group and then openly abduct him. At this time, the president brings a chair and starts beating Doo-ji. Doo-ji accepts the situation and pretends to willingly confess everything. He falsely claims that he found a fat lamb. That person has said that if Doo-ji helps him buy 100 second-hand cars, he will give a 10% commission on the sale price. The employees search Doo-ji's body and find a contract. The contract shows that Doo-ji has to buy 100 second-hand cars for that person. Doo-ji says he has only bought 30. Just as Doo-ji predicted, the greedy president immediately understands that this is a great opportunity to make huge money. He then invites Doo-ji to work with him. After calculating, it turns out that the company can currently only sell just over 30 cars. Including the ones Doo-ji bought, they still need over 30 more cars. Meanwhile, Doo-ji has already contacted Mr. Zhang and Go-eun. Mojang uses a water pipe to completely submerge Rainbow Transport's old taxi cars in water, and Go-eun posts online that a taxi company near her house has been flooded due to a burst pipe and the cars have drowned. Searching with relevant keywords, the president quickly finds this post. The drowned cars perfectly match his requirements. The president quickly sends a message to find out the location of the taxi company. At this time, Doo-ji uses a hidden blade in his body to cut his restraints and dramatically escapes the kidnapping warehouse. He then instructs Go-eun to proceed with the work. After Go-eun sends the address, the president brings his men to Rainbow Transport. After testing, it is confirmed that these are indeed third-level submerged cars. The president meets Mi Zhang and says he will buy all the cars at once. As per Mi Zhang's plan, he pretends to be grateful and signs the contract with the president. The president was preparing to take all the purchased cars. At this moment, Mi Zhang quickly changes his demeanor and shows a special clause the president had never seen before, which demands an additional 50 million yuan to be paid. Seeing this scene, the president orders his thugs to beat the driver. Along with Mi Zhang's screams, Doo-ji appears handsomely. Recalling the events of buying cars while pretending to be a fool all these days, the president realizes that he has been deceived. He immediately orders his thugs to snatch the contract, but Doo-ji knocks the thug down with one punch. Go-eun grabs the female employee by her hair, and Curly Hair and Mushroom Head also come with equipment and threaten them. When the employees start falling one after another, the president is forced to surrender. On the way back, the dissatisfied president calls his clients who rented the sports cars and orders them to confront Doo-ji. But Doo-ji is not afraid at all. He deliberately drives around this group. The president orders the pursuit. Doo-ji then presses a button to increase speed and enters the underground warehouse of Rainbow Transport. When this group was desperately looking for him, Doo-ji turns on the car headlights and drives out of the darkness. In a victorious posture, he slowly reveals the truth. In fact, Doo-ji had deliberately lured these people here to seize their sports cars without any trouble. The president tells the employees to finish off Doo-ji, but with just 2 punches from Doo-ji, this group of villains is knocked down together. The president tries to sneak attack, but Doo-ji hits him hard. Doo-ji hits them with a tooth for a tooth policy and finishes off all opponents. Doo-ji asks the president and the others to apologize for their misdeeds, but the president, unrepentant, instead tries to hit Doo-ji with a car. But the car they were in was a submerged car they themselves sold. The car goes out of control and rushes towards the cliff. Now these wicked people will be able to experience the power of the submerged car themselves. The incident ends, driver Woo returns to a peaceful life and starts driving a taxi again, continuing his beautiful life. Doo-ji also joyfully dines with his friends and prepares to start the next mission. This is where the episode ends. For the next episode, please like, comment on the video, and subscribe to the channel.